seconds for people to hop on. This is the June 2026 live stream. And as you can see, we've got a new background. I'll talk about that here in a bit. Looks like we got 5, 6 on already. That's awesome. Let me just get you guys up on my screen over here too, so I can see your comments better. You would think I could see my own videos, right? That's whatever. I won't mess with that. I've got the chat up over here. Okay, guys. So June 2026, and as you can see, I've got a different background. So this isn't perfect by any means, but this will do for this month and next month. After that, I will have to probably change to a different background. I am now at the new fraternity house, and I'm in my little apartment inside it. And I'll be here now, and then I'll be here to do the end of month live stream for July in this space. And this is probably the best background space I can find. It's a small apartment, and everywhere else has like a more strange background. So basically, for this month and next month, we'll be using this. After that, I think I'm going to be using some conference rooms in the office space, because I have my office here, which is like literally right here. I'm sitting at my desk, and then I have the Greek Life office where I can also go and do work, or they have, I don't know, like 6 or 8 conference rooms, something like that, where I can set up and film in there. So, and on a Sunday when we do the live streams, nobody's going to be in there anyway, so it should be fine for me to film. That's the plan, anyway. So that's where things are. It's been 5 weeks this time since we did a live stream, just because last month we did the live stream a week early instead of doing it the last Sunday of the month, and I know that confused some people, and that was on me for changing it, and also not communicating very well with that. The reason that I did that though was because on the day that we would normally do the live stream, I actually would be going down to South Carolina. So it took me 3 days to drive down here, and that Sunday when we would normally do the live stream, that fell on those 3 days that I was planning to drive down here. So before we get any farther into it, let me go ahead and get started with the drink of the day. So this is a little different. Normally I do some kind of pop, but this is Gold Peak tea, which I don't normally, I'm pretty picky about tea, and I don't really like bottled tea. But if I'm going to get bottled tea, Gold Peak is good. I don't normally, well actually I don't really do the sugar versions at all. They have a 0 sugar, which is really nice that there's like a 0 calorie sweet tea. But this is 0 sugar raspberry. And I think this is actually either pretty hard to find or maybe like only limited to certain areas. I'm not totally sure. I picked this up back in January before I got fired, before I knew any of that was happening. I picked this up at a gas station in New York. I will look that up, and if you guys are watching this back later, you can look in the description of the video. I'll have exactly where I bought it, just so you guys know, but this is from New York. I've had it in the car since then. Like I said, I have kind of a backlog of drinks of the day. So we're going to give this a try. I know the regular sweet tea 0 sugar they have is good. It smells like raspberry. Okay. It kind of tastes like I can taste is raspberry. I almost can't really taste the tea, which I guess is fine. Um, it's a pretty strong raspberry flavor, so you can tell it's artificial, but it's not bad. Um, and honestly, I mean, it's pretty good. I would definitely drink this. Um, I'm pretty even. Either this or the regular sweet tea zero is pretty good. I'd probably drink this just to switch it up some and have different varying flavors instead of the same thing all the time. But yeah, this is really good. Like I said, I can't really taste the tea. You don't really taste anything other than it's almost like drinking like raspberry flavored water, which I mean it's fine. Um, this does have yeah, it's got a little bit of caffeine, only 15 milligrams. Anyway, so I'll drink that throughout the stream today, and then I do finally found my favorite cup again. It was in storage forever, but I've got that, and just as a backup, I'll or when I get through this, I've got some Diet Pepsi too, just for the caffeine. So that's where things are. I am now in my new place in South Carolina. I drove down here the 29th, 30th, hey Max, and the 31st of May. Yeah, I was planning on getting here June 1st. That was my official move-in date, and then I ended up um, I ended up getting down here a little bit early. It was like 8 p.m. on the 31st. And I just texted them. I was like, hey, can I stay in the house tonight? Because I'm already here in town. Um, since I had a place to stay, I didn't really want to stay in the car another night. And they let me. So I've been here since May 31st. And it's been 5 weeks. And it feels like a lot longer than that because there's just been so much that has gone on in the last 5 weeks. Um, I've been extremely busy, and I haven't even really started much in the way of work stuff. Like I don't technically start my job until July 16th, so um, I'm still like trying to get settled in and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot going on. Let me turn on the air conditioning real quick. It's literally 100 degrees outside, so let me do this. Yeah, I'm glad I have air conditioning, but with this apartment, it's either I don't know. It waits till it gets like really hot in here, and then it kicks on, and then it's absolutely freezing while the air conditioner's running. So I don't know why it doesn't keep like a normal temperature. But anyway, temperature is a big difference since I've been down here. When I left New Hampshire on the 31st, it was cold, of course, and I was wearing a coat. And then the next day, so when I was like halfway through my journey, it was June 1st, and it it snowed. Not just flurries, but there was like a big snowstorm on June 1st in New Hampshire. I don't know how much accumulation they got, but it was like at least several inches. And it was, yeah, I'm just glad to be done with that. So I'm here. It is not even cold at night. Um, right now, I walked outside earlier. It's 93 degrees, high 95. Um, and I mean, I can't deal with cold. I can deal with heat. I mean, even if I didn't have AC, you just stay inside during the day and go out at night, right? I'm just so happy that I don't have to deal with that ever again with the temperature thing. So, anyway, um, yeah, and I wanted to mention too, I know Max said something, he's here. So, just so you guys know, I met up with him on my drive down. He was kind of on my way. Um, so, I got to meet him and some of his friends. And that's I think it's the first time I mean, other than just like being randomly recognized, it's the only time I've actually purposely met up with someone. Um, but yeah, I got to meet him, his friends. I stopped. well, I don't want to like say where he lives, but I stopped near his house and got dinner for that night, and then that was my second day driving, and then um, oh, one thing that I wanted to do on my trip that I never got to do is I meant to stop in DC and go to the Smithsonian, but I got there like I hit DC around like 4:30 p.m. and everything closed at like 5, so it wasn't worth it. Technically, I did go to DC because the route I was on, there's like a tiny sliver of DC for like 10 feet. Um, I'm not counting that. I'll just make a special trip to DC someday and actually go check stuff out. But anyway, the whole route that I drove down was a route I'd never been before. I drove through Baltimore, DC, Richmond. I did stop in Richmond. I was there by that time. I was there pretty late at night, um, and there like nothing was open. Um, but I did get to go to some historical stuff because, like, it's just open. Well, most of it you can at least walk around it at night. So I went around downtown Richmond. I walked around to see a few historical sites. Then I walked over to the state capitol, and there were like cops there. I asked them if it was okay if I walked around. They said yeah. So I walked around the Virginia state capitol, and then from there I went. I ended up that night in northern North Carolina. I stayed the night there in the car. Um, but uh, I think the big highlight of that night was that I got cookout finally. Um, and then yeah, and then the next night I got into town here. So I'm not fully moved in yet. There's still like a handful of stuff I got to get out of the car, and then hopefully next month it's like a whole ordeal, but hopefully next month I'm getting rid of the car. So when I moved out of the storage unit in New Hampshire, that saved me $30 a month or something like that. And now I also no longer am paying for co-working space, so that saves me $200 a month. And then car is depending on a few variables every month. It's around $600 a month, plus of course gas. But that'll be um, that'll be hopefully taken back to Charlotte next month, which involves me driving to Charlotte, dropping it off, and then getting an Uber to the bus station, taking a bus back. So it's a huge pain in the ass, but at least at the end of it, I will be another $600 per month free. And as I told you guys, this is going to be like such a rough period of time. Like yeah, right now um, I'm in that waiting period where I start working July 16th, and I don't get my first paycheck until August 15th. So I'm like super broke right now. Um, that's part of why I have to wait to take the car back. Fresh lights, yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I mean, it's been, yeah, everything's full volume. Um, okay, let me try something. Okay, I just turned the audio off and I turned it back on. Let me try one other thing. Yeah, that's just my ringer. That's not going to do anything. Um, you know what, guys? Let me try something. You're gonna hear me talking double. Let me try on my end. Okay, guys, I don't know what's going on your end because I'm also watching it. I mean, I know you can hear that. I'm watching it on my end on my computer here with the volume on, and I can hear it. It Yeah, like it sounds a little tinny. Like, yeah, the audio is lower than it should be, but just a little bit. It's not that there's no audio at all. Okay. Yeah, Lord bless this mess says it's working now. I have no idea. Hey, TMUSA. I don't know what is going on with the audio, guys. If you guys remember, this started a few months ago, where all of a sudden it just like was not working right. And then the next month, I went down to Boston. Better now, I think. I all I did is turn the audio off and then back on, so I have no idea what happened. But yeah, so then I went down to Boston to the Apple store, and they like cleaned a bunch of stuff on the phone. They said that the like because you have microphones on both sides of your phone, but the one on the bottom near the charger, they said that was like really plugged up with lint, and I was like, perfect. And then so because I was like, it's not something where I need to fix the phone. It's just it was plugged up. So then the next month when we did that live stream, the audio was fine for everybody. But then after that, it's like gradually declined every month to where people were having more and more and more problems with it. So, I mean, yes, I eventually need to get a lav mic, but like I just told you guys, I'm super broke right now. It's not going to be until August when my university paychecks start coming in that I can even consider doing that. So, actually, maybe. So I don't officially get hired into the university until July 16th. Maybe after I do that and I get my staff ID card and stuff, maybe I can check one out from the library because I figure they probably have one. Or if not, some like one of the video departments or something on campus would let me borrow one once I'm officially staff. So maybe I'll get that figured out for next month. Hopefully, maybe. Um, but yeah, I'm glad it just started working again. Um, TMUSA says, "Are you in your new apartment? It looks very nice and bright." Yeah, I am. So it is very bright in here. I love that. I really like natural light. So behind me here, this is the door to my patio. So I have like a fenced patio here, and then there's another window here, and then there's like a big window across the top that goes across both of these. The bedroom is next door, and it's got a big window in there too. So I'm west facing. This way's west. So yeah. So since I'm not a morning person, for most of the time I'm awake, the light is coming in, from this side of the house. I know this isn't the best setup for filming, but because it's a small apartment, pretty much everywhere else in this apartment, there's like other stuff, like doors or electrical boxes or like a closet wall or something that would be behind me. So this is the best I can do for now, and I'm gonna do this probably for this month and for next month. And then after that, I also have an on-campus office, and it has like extra conference rooms and stuff. So I think I can use those conference rooms as a place to film once school starts. Because I'm also like I'm in my living room slash office, and it's right inside the front door to my apartment, which means that when the guys are here, when they're coming in and out, it's probably going to be loud in here. It's not right now, but I would assume once they're here, there's going to be people coming in. There's a door kind of just on the other side of this wall right here, and so they're going to be coming and going in that, and just it's going to be obnoxious. So I don't want to deal with that during the video. I'll just go over to the office and I'll film there. But as I was telling you guys, the plan is I've already gotten rid of the third storage unit, the one I had in New Hampshire. I got rid of the um, the co-working space, and now the next project is to get rid of the car. That'll, like I said, hopefully be next month. I'm actually not currently driving the car right now because I don't have a driver's license. That's the whole thing. That's a whole project I'm working on. I'm hoping to go to the DMV tomorrow and get my South Carolina driver's license. So my birthday was on June 5th, and it also just happened to be the year that my license expired. And it was super complicated because I have an Ohio license. I was living in New Hampshire, and I'm in the process of moving to South Carolina. Well, normally in Ohio, you just go in there and they're like, "Hey, is your address the same?" And they don't check anything, and you just say yeah, and that's it. Well, you guys know why I never switched my license over to New Hampshire. I talked about that, um, and I think that was in my goals video. Yeah, yeah, fresh lights. I got rid of the one storage unit. That one didn't cost all that much. It was a very small one, but now I'm out of that at least. And then the good thing about this job is that I actually have a lot of opportunities to have time off because one, it's a state job, and so I get most state holidays off. Um, but I also get school breaks off. So like for example, I have like a week off in October, and then I have like another week for Thanksgiving, and then I have actually I have the schedule here. Um, I have final exams end on December 14th, and I don't go back to work until January 10th. So I have almost a month off between December and January. And like while I say I'm off, I'm sure there are some projects that I'm going to need to work on and coordinate, but those can be done kind of remotely if need be, or they can be done one week where I can travel home another week. And what I'm saying is between like October break, and then Thanksgiving break, and then Christmas break, and then spring break, and then having like 2 entire months off during the summer, I'm going to be able to have the time finally to work on my storage units. That has been the biggest challenge for why I'm still dealing with that, is because I need to sort through everything. And yeah, like sell a lot of the furniture. And uh, I mean, okay, so the one storage unit is $75 a month, and it has been that price for the entire time I've had it. Other than they eventually started charging a sales tax on it, but like other than that, the price has never gone up. The other one is just all over the place, and it keeps going up. And I that one I'm going to clean out, combine into the first one, and eventually, long term, but this is going to take a lot of money. I am wanting to build a storage building, and then that'll just be my building, and I won't have to pay for anything at all. Um, because there's some stuff that I'm not going to be able to get rid of, like antique furniture that I'm holding from the for the family, and like I inherited like all the family pictures, and it's a lot. And there's some stuff that I will want to keep as well that I don't have space for here. And yeah, I mean, yes, I can consolidate a lot of stuff, but also there's never going to be a time where I don't need storage. But what I can do is consolidate it down into one now that I actually have time to work on it because I just had never have been able to. And then on top of that, eventually someday I'll be able to just build my own and then not pay that fee anymore. Somebody made a comment. Oh, Freshlight said, "Is there an equipped kitchen in the apartment?" Kind of. It's called a kitchenette. I have a full size refrigerator, and then I have kind of a small sink, but I mean it works. I have so I've got it has a granite countertop, and there's a lot of cabinetry, way more than I would need. So there's also a space for a toaster oven and a microwave, and because the guy who was here before me, he retired and he left a lot of stuff because he, I mean, I don't know, wherever he's going, he doesn't need it. So he left his microwave and his toaster oven. They're not very good ones. I mean, I'm happy to have them in the meantime, but they're like not great. And so I'm using them for right now, but I will be going and getting mine out of storage and bringing them down here. I have a really good toaster oven. It's a Ninja Foodie. Um, I think that's what it's called, right? I think I bought it like 5 or 6 years ago off QVC, but it works really well and it does everything. I only use it as an oven, but apparently it's also an air fryer. I don't really even know what that means or what you do with that, but anyway, and then I have a very good microwave too. So I'm going to let's see. Oh, and yeah, so it's very limited, but it works for me, and it's much better than the situation that I had in New Hampshire where I was washing my dishes in the bathroom sink. So uh, I do wish I had a garbage disposal because I already had a fruit fly infestation that I had to fight fend off. I think I've mostly won that battle because now I just take the food packages directly out to the dumpster afterward, and I I haven't seen any flies for a few days, so I think I might actually finally beat that. I had tried. I bought a little trash can actually on my birthday, since somebody just mentioned that. I had that like extra 5% off coupon Target sends you for your birthday. So I went to Target and I bought this like nice looking little stainless steel compost bin with the intention that I would put all my food scraps in there. Um, and well, that didn't work. That thing got infested with fruit flies and I had to put it outside. It was a mess. So anyway, now I'm just like, okay, there's no garbage disposal. I'm just gonna put everything outside immediately. What was the other question? Oh, TMUSA says, are you close to a grocery store? Yes, and no. So I am actually very close to a Food Lion. It's maybe a half-mile walk. The problem is that the bridge by my house does not have sidewalks. I'm not totally sure if you're allowed to walk across it or not, but it definitely does not have, like, you'd have to walk in the lanes. Um, so I'm not going to do that. So to actually go to the grocery store, I have to walk like several blocks north, then across the bridge there, and then back south to the grocery store, and then all the way back around. I could do that if I need to. I'm probably not going to do that. Like right now, I have the car. I don't have a driver's license, so I'm not driving it. But once, like I said, hopefully tomorrow I get that resolved. I was just waiting on getting enough documents to prove that I live here. I think I have those now. But then once I get the South Carolina driver's license, I can just drive to the store, um, and it's not that far. But I've really all I've used since I have been here was Walmart Plus because I still have that. I did just renew it for a second year, so I've just been having groceries delivered from there, and it's free delivery um, once you once you pay the membership. So I've been having those delivered there. I did before, well, maybe it was on my birthday, but it was before my license expired. I drove to Target once and got some groceries there, and we have all the normal stores. I mean, we have everything from like Food Lion, which is a really discount store, to like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, Target. Um, Now that I think about it, I don't think we have a Harris Teeter here. Well, we do have Kroger. That's why we don't have Harris Teeter. I did go to Kroger one time because you guys probably remember me talking about this, but there's a salsa from back home that I love, and because uh, Kroger is an Ohio-based store, they carry it, and I've been able to get it at Kroger even down in Mississippi. So I went there and bought a bunch of jars of it. Um, Lord bless this mess says, happy belated birthday. Thank you. How did you celebrate? That is a good question because these last 5 weeks, so much has gone on that like it seems so long ago I can barely remember. I drove to the mall. I forget what all I did that day. Like I said, I went to Target. I got some groceries. I bought that little compost bin thing. That was my birthday gift for myself, I guess. And I don't know. Guess that didn't work out, so maybe I'll get something else eventually once money comes in. But the let's see. So well, I went to one of the malls. It's called like Columbiana Place. And that was kind of nice. I didn't buy anything. I just walked around, but um, I did find out they have Dave and Buster's, and I don't know if you guys know this. I've never really lived somewhere that had a Dave and Buster's. I guess Columbus, but there wasn't one near me. But this is actually fairly close by, and I was part of my thing was like, oh, it's my birthday. Like I'm going to Dave and Buster's and play games and stuff. And I saw how much it cost, and I'm like, I guess I'm not. And I had the money, but I'm just like, I cannot justify paying that much. But then I saw that they have these packages. Like they have a package deal where you pay like a $50 flat fee, and you have unlimited games for the entire summer. And then they also have an annual pass. And if you buy those passes, it seems like it's actually like really worth it. So maybe this fall, maybe this winter, once I get some stuff caught up on and things are more stabilized, um, I don't know. Maybe at least for Christmas break, I'll spend a lot of time with Dave and Buster's. I don't know. But anyway, I went there, and then I ended up getting uh, my birthday dinner. So in the past, um, I I've done this a few times, and it's usually for special occasions. This was my 41st birthday, and I remember back on my 30th birthday, and then back in 2020 when I was like what 35, I had a celebratory dinner for getting a new job. That was Battelle, where I traveled across the country. And for both of those occasions, and like for a few others, I've gotten the tour of Italy at Olive Garden because like I don't. I mean, it's not that Olive Garden's fancy. It's just I don't eat expensive restaurants like that. So anyway, but I was looking at it and I was like, I can't eat a tour of Italy. Like, I don't want to do that to myself. I used to be able to, and I'm just like, no, man. Like, I'm trying to get in shape. I'm not going to eat a tour of Italy. So I ended up. They had some kind of new pasta dish, and I ended up getting that, and that was actually really good. And I got that with the salad because I love their salads, and then I got so I ate well, and then I got a bunch of extra breadsticks. So it ended up actually being like 3 meals. Don't judge me that I ate just a bag of breadsticks for a meal, but but yeah, I had the pasta while it was hot. The next day I had the salad, and then it was like I probably had a couple of the breadsticks, and then the next day after that I had like the rest of the breadsticks. So I did spend like a decent amount of money on that meal, but then I broke it up into 3 meals. Um, so that was pretty much it. I don't remember what else I did. I don't know if I watched a movie or something here at the house. Um, I honestly don't remember. I'm trying to make that more of a thing of like if there's a movie now that I have a TV and stuff on the internet. If there's a movie I want to watch, I kind of like make it into an event. Um, Last night I did actually watch the third Avatar. Um, so that came out on Disney Plus recently. Oh, that's another thing, guys. I'm going to be getting rid of Hulu, which will save me $13 a month. I don't know what happened. When I got fired, one of the first things I did is I went to shut off my subscriptions for the streaming stuff. And when I went to do that, it's like, well, do you actually just want to pause it instead of canceling? And then we'll pause it for this amount of time. And I was like, yeah, actually, let's do that. Because when I signed up, it was a Black Friday deal, 2024, and so I got this like super low rate. I think it was like originally like $2.99 a month, but even though it's now like $13, it's way cheaper than the regular subscription price. So I was like, yeah, let's pause it, and then if I renew it once I get another job, um, then it'll still be at the low price. Well, I set the date in my phone of when it was supposed to reactivate, and I was supposed to pause it again. But they reactivated it like, I don't know, like a week or two before it was supposed to reactivate. So anyway, I have those again. It reactivated on its own, so I might as well watch it. But the good thing is, part of my job, the guys here have a couple of big TVs out here in the living room area that they watch sports on. And so I actually have to get one of the higher tier Hulu Pluses that has the ESPN Plus with it. Um, I've got a credit card, not mine, but like for the house, and we just charge it to that. So I'm actually going to sign up and then sign in with my with that account on my TV here to have Hulu. Um, and so that'll be another thing that I'll save on is that I won't be having to pay uh, for my own Hulu account anymore. So working on that, and this job will help me a lot. I mean, not only with the the time off to go deal with my own issues and to have time to go home and deal with the storage unit, but I actually have like one of the big things is I'll because I'm officially staff member of the university, I'll get university pricing on stuff. Um, and one of the big things is Apple. Um, my poor computer here. I've had it for 10 years now, and it was rebuilt when I got it. It's a 2012 model, and it was yeah. So I bought it. Well, he still has a business, but this kid that was in high school at the time up in Columbus. His side hustle was rebuilding Macs and reselling them, and so anyway, I bought it when it was like 4 years old and refurbished, and I've used it for 10 years, um, and I it I still use it and it's fine. But it's got to the point recently where everything on it is so outdated that like because everything like whether it's Chrome or whether it's Google Docs or whatever I'm trying to use, there's all these banners at the top of the screen because it's like update your browser. Well, I can't update the browser because the browser doesn't update anymore with this version of iOS, and I can't update iOS anymore because I'm on El Capitan, which is the highest one that this computer can run. And so I'm running into some issues lately. Chrome keeps crashing in the middle of stuff. That's driving me crazy. That that's only been happening the last few weeks. I realized if I restart the computer, it keeps it from doing it for a while, but it'll start doing it again within a few days. So it's just getting to the point where it does work, but um, you can only drag things out so long. So I'm hoping that while I'm working this job, that I can just get the university pricing for a new computer, and I'll do like I do with my iPhones. I don't really have any plans to upgrade my iPhone. I have the 13 Pro Max, and I'm happy with it. I'm going to try to get another couple of years out of it, but with the computer, what I'll do is the same thing I do with the phones. I will buy the biggest capacity, like all the special features, the highest thing that is available, so that it lasts the longest. Because I'll intend to keep it like another 10 years, right? Like And I realize that's going to mean it's going to be like $5,000 regular pricing. Of course, there'll be a discount off of that, but yeah. Um, anyway, that's the plan. I mean, I would want to get like a solid state drive. I don't even know what size hard drives they have in them now. It was like, I don't know, 5 or 10 terabytes or something like that. I mean, because even my phone is a terabyte. Um, but anyway, that's the plan. That's probably not going to happen until next calendar year. Let me get through fall semester. I'll get some stuff paid off. We'll see how that goes after that. Pose here says, good to see you streaming again. Thank you. Yeah, it's been 5 weeks. I know I'm just doing it once a month right now. Max actually knows this, but I have a video like half filmed, and I swear, guys, I'm trying. I am overwhelmed with the amount of stuff going on right now, but I'm trying to get an extra video out. I just don't want to make any promises, but I don't want to make any promises that it'll be good either. But I'm just trying to get it done and upload it and see how it goes. But then also, since it's like, well, it's almost the end of June, and you guys know what happens. End of June is the 2026 financial goals review, or well, mid-year review. I didn't set 2026 financial goals because I got fired like right around the time I was supposed to make the video. So I didn't make any. So I don't have a review video coming up. But I will be going over my student loans. And that's going to be kind of a huge video just because I haven't made an update video that's supposed to be annual. I haven't made one since 2020. So it's going to be 6 years of material. And during that 6 years was the entire Biden administration. All the student loan changes, all the student loan lawsuits, almost to the day of when we're supposed to be getting notification that we have to switch to a different plan. That's like finally ending the COVID forbearance. So, yeah. Oh, and also, guys, with this job, I actually qualify for PSLF here. I'm going to go ahead and sign up, but just so that the months count toward PSLF, because I don't think I'm going to, I mean, you know, I don't think I'm going to be here for 10 years. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like I want to make a 10-year commitment to any job, but just in case, I guess, I can, yeah. Because I figured out if I did get PSLF forgiveness rather than like regular forgiveness after 25 years, because I'm starting the job in 2026, it actually only be forgiven a few months earlier than the regular 2025. Because like most people go on PSLF and their loans are gone in 10 years. Well, 10 years for me will only be a few months before the regular 2025 or like the regular 25-year cutoff. So it doesn't really make much of a difference. TMUSA says, I've always heard YouTube TV is best for sports. That may be the best option for the students. I'll ask the chapter president what he wants. I haven't signed up for it yet, but they had Hulu, Hulu Plus Live. I guess is the one they used to have. I'm reading the notes from the old director here. But yeah, I'll see what they want because it also depends because like they have to have SEC sports and like I hate sports, but like basically I know that some networks have certain leagues and okay, there is one of those flies in here. But anyway, so some networks have certain leagues, and I have to make sure it's like the right leagues, sports that they want to watch, and that kind of thing. Let's see. Lord bless this mess. Have you ever had a job where you used your degree? I hate to see you throwing money into a hole for no reason. What happens if you stop paying completely? Okay, so let me start with your first question. Have I ever had a job where I used my degree? Yes. Um, and three of them that I can think of. And hang on, I can tell you here. So the main job where I used my degree was when I worked as a supportive counselor at a drug rehab facility. And a lot of you are probably like, what the hell are you talking about? I only worked there for less than 2 weeks, and I'll tell you why. It was September 2021. I did not know I had been ghosted by the girl. Everything was fine. She was in the hospital, left the hospital. I just thought she was dealing with stuff, right? Um, and in my mind, I had a partner to support who now, obviously, because she's just out of the hospital sick, is not going to be able to work for herself. I'd already been paying, her bills and utilities and everything all summer. Um, I obviously had to step up and get a job locally and support her. So I took a job in Parkersburg, where there's not much in the way of jobs, and I used my degree in psychology for that job because in that field they want somebody with psychology or social work or that kind of degree. I got hired in the same day as this woman named Debbie, who was probably like 60. And I'd later find out she was like a legit therapist who with like a master's degree and stuff. She got hired in and she left. She took a smoke break after like our first meeting and just left. And looking back on it, I should have done the same thing. I ended up leaving within less than 2 weeks because one, I figured out they were scamming Medicaid. Uh, and two, they told me that I had to drive the van, which I was not insured to do under their insurance nor my insurance. And they told me that I had to do it when I came back on Monday. Um, and so I just didn't come back on Monday. Um, I just sent them an email and I was like, I told you guys I'm not comfortable with this. I told you this is illegal. And I told you I'm not going to do it and I'm not going to do it. So I'm not coming back. Um, I know the executive director did text me. I saw that come in. I'd already blocked her number because I just sent the email and I was like, fuck you guys. And, um, and anyway, that was a very weird job anyway. That is the only one where I've actually used my degree in particular in psychology. That, like, the fact that I had a degree and that it was in psychology got me the job. But there are two other instances where I did just the fact that I have a bachelor's degree got me the job. So the first one was actually my first job out of college, and that was being a manager in training at Abercrombie and Fitch. So everybody loses their minds when they find this out, but you had to have a bachelor's degree to be a manager in training or anything above that at Abercrombie or any of the associated stores. So like Hollister, Gilly Hicks, Rule, um, I can't even, oh, Abercrombie Kids, yeah. Um, so yes, you had to have a bachelor's degree minimum, and then you could go into the manager in training program. So that was my first one that I used my degree for. And then the others have been the house director jobs because it's not always required. I think with Clevin, um, I think it was kind of maybe preferred, but it wasn't official. And I think there was some people who were house directors who didn't have a bachelor's degree, but they definitely wanted you to have one. And so there was Clevin, and I worked for them for like the different locations. And then when I worked for SAE in New Hampshire, I think they required a bachelor's degree. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to check on that, but I'm pretty sure they did. And then with this one, this is one of those jobs. The job I have now is one of those master's preferred, bachelor's acceptable with several years of relevant experience. So that's how I got into this. Is that like I have the bachelor's and I've been yeah doing this for a while. So technically, yes, because I have a bachelor's degree, I got this job, but it's not using my degree for like what it would have been, or like what my degree is really for, if that makes sense. So that's your first question. Your second question was, I hate to see you throwing money into a hole for no reason. Um, oh, I think you're talking about student loans, maybe. Um, what happens if you stop paying completely? Um, well, so I have both private and federal student loans. If I stop paying the federal student loans, I mean, obviously I'm not paying them right now because they're on a forbearance. But if I didn't start paying them once we have to switch over to another plan, um, I would default. Um, and then I guess at some point they would either sue me or uh, attach my wages or um, take my tax refund. I think they could also take your Social Security. It's not really something that's on my radar right now, but yeah. So, and then I'm wondering if you do default on your student loans, if you just have to pay that amount. Like, because with most people, those loans are forgiven after 20 years or 25 years of payments. Well, if you default, I think maybe you wouldn't ever have that forgiveness. I never thought of this. I don't know how that works. But, like, yeah, if you default on your federal student loans, I'm wondering if that balance that would have been forgiven eventually, if you were making payments, just is like a debt that follows you around forever instead. To answer your question there about private loans, well, with those, I mean, I only have two left, and I'm current on them. Actually, I'm not current on them, but I am as far as credit reporting. I will tell you guys about this a little bit later in the live stream. I am waiting on a check so that I can pay my student loan payment that was due on the 15th. And the way the credit reporting works is as long as you don't miss a second payment, they they report it as like you're on time. So basically, as long as I make my payment by the 14th of July, I should be okay. So I'm waiting on a check to come in. I'll tell you guys about that. Um, Everything else I've been able to cover. I didn't have the $525 to pay the student loan payment. So, but I have a bunch of payments coming out the first, and I already have enough money to cover those. So those at least are okay. Okay, so to answer your question about my private loans, if I just stop paying those, I mean, after about 6 months, I would default on them, and then, uh, I mean, they would likely sue me. Can't guarantee that, but yeah. And then, I mean, there's not like a whole lot of defense to a debt collection. The ones that I had before that I defaulted on, the other private student loans, the reason I had such a defense to those is because they were being so dodgy about like giving me the paperwork to like prove that they were even my loans, and I never got that paperwork. And even though they did sue me, they dropped the lawsuit and lied to the court, saying they were dropping it because they served me elsewhere, but they never did, and they never filed a suit elsewhere. So I don't know what that was about, but nothing ever happened with those. With these, though, it's pretty easy for them to prove they're my loans, so that wouldn't work like that. So if I did default, it might take a year or two. They'd sue me, and they'd either get a settlement or wage garnishment Troll G says, "Good to see you are starting. Good to see you are starting a good job. I completely paid off one of my credit cards, and I'm working on another three. Nice, nice. Yeah. I'm so mad about my credit cards. I was so close to paying it off. Like my Discover card was completely paid off. I've always just paid it off every month. And then my Capital One card, I had paid it down to like I want to say like $1,000 balance or something like that. Um, and then my other Capital One card that was canceled in the fall of oh, I'm gonna get to your comment. I'm not sure the answer to that. But yeah, so like anyway, I'm on a payment plan also for paying off a past credit card, and I'm at least on track with that. It's down to $1,400, and I am making a payment on first comes out automatically of $288. So it's on track to be paid off in November. Realistically, it's going to be paid off earlier. Again, I got to tell you guys about this check I got coming, but I'm just going to pay it off right away. I know it doesn't exactly make sense to pay off something that has a 0% interest rate, but I need to get rid of that $288 a month payment. That's why I'm just going to pay it off when I get this money. Anyway, Poe says, "Why is the chat so low in sound? Did someone tell Mark about that?" So if you're talking about like hearing me speaking, yes, there was a problem with it earlier, and then I changed something on the phone, and then everybody said that it was better after that. But I'm not sure what you mean by the chat. If you mean like the comments, I don't know what the sound of the comments is. But yeah, okay. So that's the end of the comments for now. I mean, you guys can continue, but I'll go ahead and tell you about this check that I keep telling you about. So as I keep saying, I'm like super broke right now. I'm behind on one payment on my student loans until I get some money, and I've got this gap where I don't start working until July 16th, and I don't get paid my first paycheck until August 15th. So I already knew this summer was going to be really rough trying to figure out how I get to August 15th, because I just don't have the money to get there. And to complicate that, I can't even do like DoorDash or Instacart because I don't have a driver's license. So, like I said, I'm going to try to fix that tomorrow. It's only $25 to get a South Carolina license, so I should be okay. I got some money I transferred out of savings for that. Um, I'm using the last bit of savings that I had in my emergency fund. Um, so maybe supplementally, yeah, maybe I can do some DoorDash or whatever. But the main thing that I'm waiting on is sorry, my mind just went blank. Oh yeah, so I'm waiting on this check. Um, okay, here's what happened. Last day I was in New Hampshire, I went over to the fraternity house and I grabbed the mail out of the mailbox, like what was mine, and there was a there was a thing in there from MetLife, and I opened it when I got down here and I was looking through it, and it turns out my stepdad took out an insurance policy when he worked at GE, and I was the beneficiary of the policy. Well, he died 13 years ago, and I have no idea. Apparently, nobody knew this policy existed. I have no idea why just 13 years ago. Um, like, I don't know why just 13 years ago, or like, yeah, I'm not making any sense. I don't know why it took them 13 years to reach out to me, but they did, and they're like, hey, if you don't do this like within 30 days, we're sending this to the unclaimed funds for New Hampshire. And I was like, I don't know how you found me in New Hampshire. I don't know why you waited 13 years. And then it was this mad rush to get all these documents. Okay, there's a fly in here. It's driving me crazy. But anyway, so it turns out it's a life insurance check for $15,000, and because it's been sitting there for all that time, it's accrued interest, and I think the total amount is like 16,400 and something. And so anyway, my plan is, I mean, I need it. Like, I need the money to get to August 15th. Um, and I thought, I don't want to waste a one time windfall and something that's supposed to be like life changing on just, groceries and daily expenses. But I really didn't have a solution for how I was going to get to August 15th. And this will allow that to happen. But basically, what I'm thinking about doing is being frugal about that, to make the money that I get last as long as possible. But one thing I want to do immediately is pay off that last $1,400 of that credit card so that I just have $288 per month less in monthly payments. I know some of you will say that's mathematically not the best thing to use it for because it is a 0% interest rate and it's set to be paid off in November. But things are going to be really tight for the rest of summer. So, uh, I mean, if nothing else, maybe I should just make two payments, like the one for, well, no, I'm covering the one for July, but maybe August. Maybe, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But basically, I want to pay off that card, and then the rest of the money, most of the rest of the money, I'm going to put as a one-time payment toward my student loan. I have two student loans left. Um, One is like $40,000, but the other one is $15,000. Which, if I was able to use the whole check, I could just straight pay that off, and that would eliminate a $125 per month, roughly. Yeah, per month payment. Um, and of course, you have that 288 that's going to be taken away too. So I'm just trying to like make my budget easier by like eliminating monthly payments. Yeah, guys, I don't know what is going on because you're all having different experiences with the sound. Let me check again on my end. Yeah, I can hear it on my end. I mean, I get it would be better, and I don't know what's wrong with the phone because it I didn't used to need a mic, and now I can hear that it's like not loud, but like it definitely does work, at least on my end. I don't know what's going on, guys, but somehow y'all are having different experiences. Um, and anyway, so I'm getting this check. What's realistically probably going to happen is I'm going to get $16,000. I'm going to use a chunk of that money to get through to August 15th. I'm probably going to pay off that whatever is remaining. It's going to be about $1,100 after I make this payment on the first. It's going to be like $1,100 to pay off that remaining credit card, and then about $10,000, maybe a little bit more, depending on what's left, will be a single payment on my student loan. That way, I only have about 5,000 left on it. And after I start this job, I already have kind of a framework for making extra payments toward my debt anyway. So I'll probably be able to pay off that loan pretty quickly. And then that'll leave me with just one student loan. I mean, other than the federal ones, but we're not paying those right now, so we're not worrying about those. But I'll just have the one private student loan that's around like 40,000, and I'm just going to snowball all of that. So it's going to be the $288 payment from the credit card and the $125 payment for the smaller student loan, plus I can't think of it right now. There's a third payment, but anyway, those will all be snowballed into that bigger one. So that's the plan. Now the problem with the check is it's supposed to be here already. They actually mailed it out June 5th, and I called them like I don't know last week or something, the week before, and I said, hey, it's not here yet, you guys, and they're like, yeah, we sent it out on the 5th, but we tell everybody to wait 10 business days. So it was literally 9 business days when I called. So I called back the next day. I was like, hey, it's still not here. So they're like, all right, we're going to have to void that check and we're going to have to mail out another one. But it's going to take like 48 hours to get the check voided. Then it's going to be another 7 to 10 business days. It's going to be another 7 to 10 business days for you to receive the check again. And I will say, I have had a lot of problems with the mail here since I've been here. It's not that I don't receive any, it's just things have gone missing. Currently dealing with an issue with YouTube because yeah. So, well, okay. Currently dealing with an issue because I am going to make a video about this. So YouTube was supposed to send me a package, and they did. But then at the last minute, they ended up sending me an extra thing. And I got the extra thing, but I didn't get the thing they were supposed to send. And the tracking says it's here. It's not. So I'm dealing with that. But yeah, I am actually going to do an unboxing video just for what they sent me. But I kind of waited because I was waiting to get the second package, and it seems like it's missing. So anyway, there's that. I've had some difficulty with the mail in general here. Like, it seems like we only get mail like twice a week or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway, dealing with that, this check has also disappeared, and now I'm like waiting on it. And if it doesn't show up this time, I'm just going to say to them like, okay, guys, like, look, I don't know what's going on. They already told me they can't send it like FedEx or something. And I'm just going to be like, is there any way that you guys can either just deposit it for me or can I like come pick it up from you somewhere? I don't know what is going on with the mail here. Anyway, so that's what's going on. I really need the money. Should have had it already, and I'm sitting here like broke, just waiting on this check. Okay, and here's the thing: if I can get the money, so my training starts on July 16th. If I can get the money soon, then I'm going to go home before my training starts. I would like to go home. I would like to get a haircut because I won't be able to go back home again until October. And it's already too long. And I would like to get a bunch of my stuff out of the storage, like my microwave, my toaster oven, some like big plastic tubs of stuff that I moved out of the New Hampshire apartment that it would be better if I had here. I would love to have that stuff, and I obviously have to drive there to get it. At least it's not a nightmare drive like New Hampshire. It's not 17 and a half hours to drive home. It's like 8 hours. It's doable in a day. I mean, really, if I really wanted to push it, I could go up and back in one day. But anyway, that's the plan. Just get a rental car. There's an Enterprise here. Just get a rental car, drive up there, get the stuff from storage, get my haircut, drive back. And okay, so okay. Max says, Mark, you should talking about coming to see me. It was cool. Thanks again. Yeah, man. I didn't know how much you wanted like put out there, um, but yeah, Max got a hold of me after the last live stream because I said that I was doing it early because I'd be doing this ride. So he lives like right on the route that I was driving, basically. And so on the second day that I was driving, I met up with him at some kind of event. It was like a yard sale. And anyway, I met up with him and some other people who have followed the channel. I really, I didn't realize that they were following the channel too. Um, so I just met up with them, hung out for a little bit, and that was that was pretty much it. We just stood around, talked. I think I met at least two other people, who aren't people who are in the live chats or like live stream chats, but who had been watching me for a while. So it's definitely weird to to kind of realize I'm like, oh, you guys, you know, they're acting like I was somebody that they've been watching for years, and I didn't know they were doing that. So it was like, oh wow, okay, they're acting like I was I don't know, somebody that they knew. Um, like it would be like if I saw, okay, like when I was growing up, I loved Pippi Longstocking from like the '60s videos. It would be like if I ran into her, I would be like starstruck. I'm not a star. I'm just like a dude. So so anyway, that's what I mean. It's like they were acting like I was a celebrity or something, and I was just like, I'm not. Um, but anyway, um, it was a cool experience. I know I said it was weird, but it was just it, it was weird because it's something I haven't experienced before, but like not weird in general. Um, so I would have Max. I think I told you this, but if I'd gone there earlier, if I got there earlier in the day, I planned on exploring DC. So I was originally going to ask you if you wanted to come up to DC because I was going to go like walk around and go to the Smithsonian. So I was going to ask you if you wanted to meet there. But then by the time I got down there, they were almost closed, and I was starving, which is why I stopped at Panda Express there when I took the exit for your place. So anyway, it was cool to meet everybody, and Max knows who I really am. He got to see the car. I got to see all my stuff loaded up while I was living in it. So, you guys will probably actually get to see the car. It's mostly unloaded now, but I'm planning on before I return it. I'm hoping to do a video um, on Zipcar. It's not even loaded. It's Flex car. I'm gonna be getting Zipcar. I'll address that because a couple of you guys are asking about cars. Um, but yeah, I'm probably gonna be doing a Zipcar video. So I will, while I have a car, film it a little bit. All right. Um, so Max, have you met Mark in person? I don't think Max answered, but yeah, he has. Um, Freshlight says sound gone again, and then TMUSA says I can hear him. Let me check again. Yeah, I can hear him on my end. Um, I mean, guys, once I get some money coming in, I'll get a mic, and then that'll just solve the problem. That way, if it works half the time and it doesn't work the other half of the time, I mean, if I have the mic, it'll work all the time. But I just gotta wait till I have some money because right now I'm, struggling to get money for groceries. TM USA says, "How about a $10,000 used car? Older grandma-owned Camry or Corolla with lower miles. They're out there." The thing is, I mean, I got so used to when I was in New Hampshire. I lived there for like a year. Oh well, okay, let's back up. I started having trouble with my car back in 2024, and so when I got out to Indiana, like literally like the weekend after I got out there, it broke down again. And so like the entire time I was in Indiana, I basically stayed at home. There wasn't really anywhere to walk to, and once it got cold, you couldn't walk anywhere. It was just you would freeze to death. So I really didn't go anywhere or do anything. And eventually, I got my car working to the point that I could drive it to the grocery store. But like, I would not trust it to go any further than the grocery store because even then, sometimes on the way back, it would start overheating. I don't know how to explain this, but my car eventually just fixed itself. Like it just got better over time to where it wasn't overheating much at all anymore. And I could even drive it like 10 miles or something. Um, I have no idea how to explain that, but it just did that on its own. And I was even able to take it on like I-95 toward Boston, and I knew it wasn't good for long, long distance, but I could take it places. When I was in New Hampshire for those months, well, like more than a year, because I didn't trust the car, I didn't take it more than like 5 miles at a time. And I would drive to the neighboring town where my co working space was. That was about it. Um, I really didn't go anywhere. Um, and I got used to that. I know that would bother a lot of people, and life is a lot better when you can go places, but yeah. So here's the thing, I'm used to not having a car that can do much or go many places. And then when I got the flex car, you didn't really want to drive it very far. One, because I didn't have the money um, to pay for gas, but it also has a limit of, I think it's 800 miles a month. That does roll over, so if you don't use them, when they add 800 the next month, whatever you had left is added to it. But the thing is, because there is a mileage limit, I'm not gonna do DoorDash with it. I'm not gonna like drive distances to places like for no reason. And I'm just have changed my habits, I guess, and my behavior in a way that I almost don't need a car. Um, and like, let's look at my situation right now. I live in the capital of South Carolina. I live like 4 blocks from the Capitol, like the actual building. Um, I live in a downtown of a major city. Okay, I don't know if I would call anything in South Carolina a major city, but like a major city because it's the capital. It's big enough, I guess. But like, I live on a college campus where they kind of expect people to be walking around and not have cars, so things are kind of oriented that way. Now, on the counter side to that, I am in South Carolina, so they're very unfriendly to pedestrians, and things are laid out for cars. But the campus itself is laid out for people to be walking around. There's a bus system here in town that is free with my staff ID that I could take if I wanted to. Um, so far, I've just walked everywhere. And the way it was put to me by my boss at the university is that Columbia is almost walkable. And that's pretty true because you can get almost everything you need by walking around downtown. The one main thing would be groceries, but I do have Walmart Plus for that. Um, the other thing I'm probably going to do is get the Zip card. Um, I had it in Indiana because if you guys remember, there were like 3 or 4 instances where I would get a zip car where you can either rent it for the entire day or you can rent it by the hour. You have to join, and there's a monthly membership fee. I want to say it was $9 a month in Indiana, but I can't remember for sure. And then you pay for it when you use it, and it comes with a free tank of gas. They just got that this year here in Columbia, and there's a car closest one to me is like basically across the street. There's a university parking lot, and there's always one car over there. So my idea is I'm just gonna walk for now. I'm gonna hopefully get rid of this zip car. There's kind of it's like a whole ordeal, but I'm hopefully gonna get rid of it next month. I have to take it to Charlotte, get it right back. But once I do that, I won't have the transportation. I'll be able to walk most places. I'll be able to get groceries delivered. It would be great if I could get out into the suburbs and do some of the other stuff, like going to Target or going to Cookout. I love Cookout. Guys, I've only been here. I've only gone to Cookout twice, three times since I've been down here. So don't worry, I'm not eating it every day. But anyway, the thing is, I'm trying to save money, and I don't really need a car. If I really wanted to, I could probably get an e-bike or a scooter, and that might be something I look into eventually. But you got to realize that I can walk here year round. Like you couldn't do that in New Hampshire because you'd die. Here it doesn't get cold. They say that winter here is 6 weeks long and it usually doesn't get below 30 degrees. They almost never get any snow, and yeah, the lowest temperatures anybody I've asked has ever seen has been into the 20s, like late at night during the winters. Um, so then, yeah, so it's warm year round basically, except for 6 months, where it's like, yeah, it's 30, but I also learned how to dress for cold weather when I was up north, so I'm not worried about that now. I'm still miserable because I hate it when it's 30 degrees, but now I have layers. I bought all these layers, right? I have fleece and I have puffer jackets, and I I have all this stuff where I'm gonna be completely fine. So I mean, right now you got the opposite. Right now it's literally, well, that says 95.0 degrees outside. Um, and I was told most of the house directors leave for the summer. They're like, nobody wants to be in Columbia during the summer. Um, I'm just like, it's fine. It's fine here. Um, that's just the way I'm wired. I can deal with heat. I cannot deal with cold. But like I said, now I have all the equipment from moving from up north. And when it does get into 20s or 30s, I can still walk around if I need to because I've got a base layer I can put on my bottom. I've got, I can wear a fleece layered with a puffer jacket, and that's going to be plenty warm here. Um, it's not going to be like when I was in New Hampshire and it was 25 below zero and freezing, and it's nor'easter with several feet of snow. Like I don't ever have to deal with that again. So anyway, I'm saying all this talking about the car, but basically the plan is right now I don't think I need a car, and I don't want a car because of the cost of the car, because of what I can save by not having a car. So even if I pay $9 a month to have a zip car membership, which it's going to be less because in Indiana I couldn't join the official university plan that they had where students and staff get discounted rate. Here, there is a discounted plan, and because they're new to Columbia, if I sign up, there's like I don't think you have to pay a deposit. It's some kind of like in the first year, there's like some kind of special for signing up. But I'll have to look into it. But basically, it's going to be a lot less. Um, and then, yeah, so it was a lot less. And then basically, um, not having a car would save me a ton of money. Obviously, getting rid of the zip car saves me $600 per month, plus whatever the cost of gas would be that I would use. Um, but I'm trying to think of like how much I would realistically spend on cars, because it wouldn't be very often that I would even use the zip car, but I would like to have it. And some days I might just want to go to the mall, or which technically the bus goes there. That's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. Um, but there might be stuff that I might use the zip car for. Um, like in the winter, I'd like to go to the national park. We have a national park near here. I will not go during the summer because it's a swamp, and I'm gonna try to go in like January, where hopefully the bugs are dead. Um, but anyway, the um, the plan would be this: at some point down the road, maybe if I feel the need, I could get an e-bike or scooter. Um, but for now, I'm just gonna get rid of get rid of the flex car, not have a car, walk everywhere, have my groceries delivered, um, and then of course food service. I'm gonna eat at the house most of the time when that starts up. And then on top of that, I'm going to have the zip car membership so that I can get a car if I need to. That I can rent by the hour, possibly, depending on you can either do it by the day or by the hour for how long you need it. But I will say the zip cars are not really practical for driving long distances, because you have a daily limit and they're kind of expensive if you do it for the whole day compared to a regular rental car. But we do have an Enterprise here, which is also in walking distance from me. So, say I want to rent a car to go home, I'll just get that from Enterprise because it would be a lot cheaper. Um, there are other reasons too. So, let's say I bought a car, so I don't have to worry about a car payment. When I buy a car, maintenance has always been the thing I can't keep up with. And then also in South Carolina, they have personal property taxes. So if I own a car here, I have to pay taxes on it every year, um, which is kind of the nail in the coffin of if I'm going to get a car, because I'm just not going to do that. And that's why the last guy who was in this position, I mean, this is totally not legal, but he was from Ohio and he was here for like 5 years. He just left his car registered in Ohio the entire time. That way he didn't have to pay the annual property tax. Um, Probably not going to do that. I mean, I already registered to vote here. I'm going to get my ID here, but I'm just not going to have a car because I'm not paying personal property taxes every year. Um, the other thing, there's like some other. Oh, and then insurance. I have to pay insurance, and you don't when you get these rental cars because it's like it's included in the price. Um, so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. Now, I know you guys had a couple suggestions here. Max doesn't. I think a reliable used car with cash would be a good move right now. Just something to consider. I I just feel like a car would cost me money. Like whether it be maintenance later on, or the insurance, or paying for gas. When I don't really need that, I would rather just not have one. Um, and then Team USA says if you don't want a car, take 10,000, put in a high yield savings account for an emergency fund. I'll give you peace of mind. Your choice, of course. Yeah, so I do have to rebuild my emergency fund because I had mentioned that I I'm on like the last $200 of my emergency fund, and that's gonna last me in groceries until I get this check that I'm waiting on. The problem is, yeah, I'm gonna have to start completely over with an emergency fund, and I'm not gonna be able to start building that until August 15th when my first paycheck comes in. The problem with putting the $10,000 in that is that I'm eventually going to use it because my purpose with the emergency fund is, well, like the one I have now. It's to make it what I call a working emergency fund, meaning that money's in there, yes, for that safety. Um, the For that safety, yes, like it would give me that, but eventually it would get spent. I have no idea what the next awful event's going to be that happens, but eventually it'll get spent just on general living expenses and just kind of like fade into oblivion. Like I want to take this, like I want to take advantage of this opportunity because I never have extra money. I never really have enough to like, or just barely more than enough to pay whatever expenses I have for those 2 weeks. And to get something like this is like really like a once in a lifetime thing. So um, when I look at what would make the biggest difference, it's to almost pay off that one student loan, which would send me like years ahead of actually paying it off. Because I think, actually, let me check real quick here. I think I'm currently scheduled to get that paid off. Yeah, May 2034 is when I would have that paid off at the normal rate. It's $15,382 is the total at a 6.75% interest rate with a monthly payment of $118.75. So in order to get this, like, oh my god, okay, in order to get this paid at a and to get a jump on it, because I just never have any extra money to put payments for it. Like, I feel like that's why I have to use this for that. Um, and the weird thing is, I thought too, I was like, what if I didn't have any credit card debt or any payment or like any student loan payments? What would I use it for? I have no idea. Because it's not a huge amount of money, right? It's not like 100,000, where there's a lot I can do with it. 16,000 is a lot of money to me, but it's also not actually a lot of money. So you're limited to what you can do with that. And so I did think about that. I was like, what would I use this for if I didn't have to pay off debt with it? And genuinely, I don't know. I don't want to put it in savings because, like I said, it would eventually just disappear to be used for, like, I don't know, groceries or gas or something when things are bad. I want this to be used for something more impactful. So, um, anyway, but as far as rebuilding my emergency fund, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to be building two emergency funds, kind of. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I got to wait until my checks start coming in. So I have this framework that I used when I was at SAE, and I'm going to do it the same. But it's essentially, if I remember right, there's a formula. I actually have it written down. I wrote a formula of how I do this, but it's basically this formula is a couple of things subtracted out, one thing added in, and then a percentage of that amount. Um, and that amount goes to savings. Well, I'm going to take that same formula and apply it to my new paychecks. Um, but then what I'm also going to do is continue to live frugally, and I think how I'll do it is the contributions from each paycheck will be what goes to the emergency fund to start rebuilding that. The money, whatever is left at the end of the pay period when the new check comes in, that money will just stay in my checking account up until there's a buffer of about $2,000. I actually did this when I was at SAE, where I had about a $2,000 buffer, um, so that I never had to worry if I was going to overdraw my account or if I had enough in there. It did give me, I would say, more of a sense of security than the emergency fund, because I knew I was allowed to spend this money. I knew that it wasn't really reserved for emergencies, and I didn't have to transfer it from anywhere for that to happen. So I'm going to have both this buffer in my checking account, um, and then also actually a separate account for savings where I'm going to be rebuilding the emergency fund. And I think that's how I'm going to fund it. Emergency fund from paycheck. The remainder of the check at the end of the pay period will stay in there until it's built up to about $2,000. And then after, so like, if you get the day you get your paycheck, you know your paycheck amount is, you know the $2,000 amount. Anything in addition to those two amounts added together can then be put toward debt. I think that's how I'm going to have to do it. Pose talking to Max. Hey, Sandra. No, you're totally good. As usual, I kind of announced this late. Okay. I'm going to mispronounce this, but Ahat Yisrael says, I never paid property tax in Maryland, but since living in Georgia since 1999, property tax on cars is only significant when the cars are new and then decreases every year. Yeah, I looked it up in South Carolina, and it kind of does that. I forget what the exact rules are, but it stops decreasing at a certain point, and even whatever that amount is, where it stops decreasing in every car below that year or below that value, you have to pay like a minimum of that amount every year. In South Carolina is too high. I don't remember what it was, but I do also remember seeing that South Carolina has like the highest personal property tax of any state. So whatever it was an amount that was just ridiculous, and like I'm not paying that. I mean, the only other option I would have is that I could switch my license back to Ohio and then have the car registered in Ohio. Not technically legal. That's a whole thing. You guys know I own some property in Ohio, and it would be so simple if I could just have an address assigned to that property, and then I could register everything there. And if anybody ever questioned it, I can just say, I own a property in Ohio, and that's where everything's registered, and that would make total sense. It's not this simple. It's when I was working on getting my passport, I was dealing with this. It's way more complicated than that. Just because it's like, well, the property doesn't have an address, so in order to get an address assigned, I have to put in a culvert, which is like thousands of dollars. But then once you put a culvert in, then the county engineer can approve for you to get an address. And once your property has an address, just because it has an address doesn't mean that you can use it to receive mail, because the post office won't deliver to a property that just has a mailbox and no building. And they won't deliver to, say, if I built like a storage building there, they won't deliver to that either. Then on top of that, they won't even deliver to a house if they determine that somebody's not living there, which would probably be the case when I only pick up the mail every few months when I go up there. there's so many rules that it's just stupid. Like it just makes it complicated for no reason. And that's why I can't just register everything in Ohio. Um, oh, wow. Okay. Now I just saw the second half of your comment. Uh, you pay more car tax on older vehicles. Yeah, so I definitely don't want to do that. And I'm definitely not going to buy a newer vehicle anyway. I mean, whether it be cost or. I don't like all the features on newer vehicles because, like, the way I look at it is all these things that are automated or electronic are just something that's going to go wrong at some point that is then going to take more money to fix. Um, I want things. If I could get windows that roll down, like not with the button, I would get those. But I don't think they make those anymore. I just don't want things that are going to go wrong. TMUSA, we get paid once a month. No, I get paid twice a month, but it's a little weirdly staggered. So I get paid on the 15th of every month, and then the last day of every month. So the first paycheck is always going to have to last for 14 days. And then the second paycheck, depending on the month, is going to have to last for anywhere from 13 to 16 or 17 days. And I also think, let's see how this works out in practice. I think that means the second check of the month should be a little bit bigger, or maybe not. Maybe it's the first check of the month. I don't know. I'm so confused. But there should be one of the checks, I think, should be like for 14 days of work, and the other check would be for like 15, 16, 17 days of work, depending on uh, how many month or how many days there are in the month. What you get? Oh, TMUSA says our license plates yearly sticker expensive too. I cannot believe you yearly tax on the same vehicle and more for older cars. Yeah. Yeah, and that is also a big problem I've had with West Virginia. I don't know how it is here, but I know in West Virginia you have to pay personal property tax on everything. So it's not just a car. You have to pay personal property tax on animals. So like a dog, you have to pay taxes on it every year. Um, well, plus you have to buy like licenses to have it and stuff too. Bicycle, I don't remember if you have to pay personal property tax, but you definitely have to pay an annual tax to the city for a permit to ride it. Um, I mean, West Virginia is one of the states that has the highest tax rate in the country, which is really weird because it's like a far right wing, deep red state, but has the highest taxes in the country. I don't get that. Anyway, um, West Virginia taxes everything, and it's like ridiculous. And these southern states, well, like South Carolina, we're only 2 states away, well, I guess 3 states away from West Virginia, but we're in the same region. Like West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina are considered the same region usually, and so things are pretty similar here in the way that they work. And this whole personal property tax where you pay tax every year for every item that you own. Um, yeah, it's ridiculous, and that's why I'm just not going to own anything. I'm not going to have a pet. I won't end up getting an e-bike if I'm going to have to pay taxes on it, or I'll somehow figure out how to register it in Ohio. Um, and it definitely is keeping me from that. Now, one thing I will say about South Carolina is their license is cheaper. I think it was like $68 or something around that to get one in Ohio that lasts for 4 years. Here, it's like $25 for an 8-year license. So, I guess that's good. Oh yeah, no, that's something I didn't even think about. Um, Car property tax, along with it, well, I'm guessing you're saying emissions test, give you that annual sticker for the license plate. Yeah, so you'd also have to do an inspection, which, let's be honest here, no car I've ever driven is going to pass an inspection. So that is another reason that I can just rent cars because I'm also not going to pay for, I'm not going to pay for inspections or emissions testing. Honestly, South Carolina, though, they may not have that. They probably charge you a fee if your car doesn't roll coal. Um, Abacus Inc. Info. Wow, the economy is really tough. Yeah, in general. Yeah, it is. I am also just cheap. So if you're responding to me just saying I'm not going to pay anything, that's just me being cheap in general. And that's the thing is I'm not opposed to taxes. I talk about that all the time. Like I'm always talking about avoiding taxes. And I think people think that, I'm like totally opposed to taxes. It's like, I just can't afford to pay taxes. That's the thing. Um, you know, when you make a certain amount of money, you're not worried about taxes. You have plenty of money. Um, but I'm in this category where I'm like, taxes are a huge burden on me because I don't make that much to begin with. I don't have enough left over to live on if I pay taxes. Is the problem. Okay, well, I finished off that raspberry tea. And by the way, guys, if you do want to buy some of this, I put a link on the video. And you can buy it. I think it's from Walmart. So if you do that, I get some kind of commission. Abacus Inc. Info says I just followed you on Twitter, aka X. Yeah, thank you. Hey, and just so you know, I haven't logged in there for a really long time. So if you see whatever tweets you see there are from a really long time ago. But yeah, I've been really bad. Well, I don't know how closely you follow the channel, but I've had a lot going on the last few years. So I've been really bad at sorry, my screen protector has a bubble in it. It's driving me crazy. You're on a roll. I guess that's good. I don't know if that's good. But all right, guys. So I finished this off. And because of that, I'm gonna switch over to Diet Pepsi. Oh, there's a new comment. Hi Mark. I don't know if you've answered this already, but is your new job a better paid job than your last one? Congrats, by the way. I'm glad you're getting back on your feet. It is. Let me grab this new drink. I gotta switch over because I just finished off my tea, and then I'll answer your question. Okay, guys, I see your comments saying that the sound's better. I literally was not even in the room. So let me get my live stream caught up here, see if I can hear it. But okay. So let me get back to this comment. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the issue. Okay, so I don't know what's going on there. You're going to hear me echo here in a second. But basically, okay, it is a little bit louder. I don't know what's going on. I was either not in the room at all, or it was when I was picking at the bubble in my screen protector. So I have no idea, guys. Literally, I didn't touch any buttons or anything. There's a piece of lint on the end of my screen protector, and there's a bubble, and it's driving me nuts. And so I was just picking at it. But that's literally all that happened. Anyway, to answer the question, so yeah, I don't know if you've answered this already, but is your new job a better paid job than your last one? Congrats, by the way. I'm glad you're back, getting back on your feet. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm not really back on my feet yet. They're kind of just letting me stay here for free so that there's somebody at the house over the summer. But I'm not actually getting paid for being here. So I don't officially start the job until July 16th. And August 15th will be my first paycheck. So things are going to be really tight until then. But anyway, so let's see. Yes, it is a better paying job. My last job, I made 36,000 to start, and then I got a raise after a year to where my salary was 37,080. Here, I start at 48,800 and something. So it's a pretty significant jump. It's like an 11, almost $12,000 jump in salary, and because it's a state job, because I'm actually working for the state of South Carolina, it has a lot more benefits and perks too. One negative, I will say, and I'm gonna have to wait until I start getting my paychecks coming in to see how this actually looks in practice. But as much more money as I'm making, I am required here to be part of the pension plan, which means that I have to put away 9% of every paycheck. That, if I were to participate myself in retirement and select the amount that I wanted to do, that's way too high for for my situation, but it's mandatory. I think if I remember right, you contribute 9%, and then they put in either 4 or 5% matching, but it's vested automatically. So you immediately get access to that money. I'm just gonna have to see what my paychecks are like. With that 9% taken out, things might not seem like it's much more to me than what I was making before. But just kind of have to see. I do also have some better. I mean, there's a lot that's better here. My apartment is better. Um, the university and having access to it, being a staff member, gets me access to a lot of resources that I didn't have in New Hampshire. I'm also thinking here we have a private chef, which we did have a private chef in New Hampshire, but the yeah, I have a private chef in New Hampshire, but it was through a company called Upper Crust. Here we just have an actual chef that works for us directly. We had a kitchen staff of 1 in New Hampshire. We have a kitchen staff of 7 here. but everything here is made from scratch. So it's not coming from food service, and I'm thinking that that's going to be good for me, like health wise. And yeah. Oh, and we get free gym membership. So and it's like practically next door too. So um, since it is warm here, since it is warm here most of the year, and before I would get into like much else physically, like I'd want to lose some weight. So I would probably do that by running because running is kind of my thing. I can run outside most of the year here. That means I probably wouldn't be in the gym that much, at least until winter. But at least it's free, so that's good. And then I did want to say too. So you also have opportunities here because you're a staff member to take on other jobs, and like I don't want to take on. I got a lot on my plate right now. Plus, I've got the learning curve of being new, trying to figure out my job. Um, I probably won't be doing this until next year, but I have the opportunity to either be a sports ambassador, meaning that you do stuff around the stadium. They have like football ambassadors in the fall. You get free clothes, free uniform to wear, but they also pay you. And I don't know how much they pay, but I can't imagine that it would be something like minimum wage because they're specifically wanting university staff who are already staff to do these positions. So I don't think the professors that are making $100,000 a year are doing this job if it's not paying something decent. Um, and then the other thing is, after being here a year, I can become a professor, uh, which that's good. That would never happen. I mean, I'm going to be a professor at a huge university with only a bachelor's degree. But the way that works is they require a doctorate or at least a master's plus experience, except unless you're a staff member already at the university with a minimum of a bachelor's degree plus 3 years professional experience. Then you can become a professor. So I don't think that I'd be able to be an adjunct for like psychology or something, but they do have something called University 101. And it's basically for freshmen and some sophomores as an introduction to the university and what resources are there. But it's a full, full semester length class. I have to do a training program to do it. Then you get paid $3,900 for each section that you teach. So obviously, first year I'm only going to do one section, but could you imagine like I could probably end up doing like two sections in the spring, two sections in the fall eventually. That's like, you know, 14, $15,000 extra. Um, let's see here. Okay, SB. Okay, I know yours. I know. Oh man, I can't remember your name. Remember they changed over from user, like your actual name, to usernames. I recognize yours, and I can't remember what it normally is. So SB-RN4FY, whatever you just did, you fixed the sound. It has been horrible the whole time, very low, trailing off. Sounds good now. I don't know, guys, because yeah. Then Sandra says yes, was really low volume when I checked in. Now after the tweak, the sound is much better now. And then Allie here. Hey Mark, whatever you did with the screen protector fixed the sound for me. I have no idea. Literally just on the corner of the phone here, like I said, there was a piece of lint and like a little air bubble on the end of the screen protector that was bothering me, so I was picking at it. But it's nothing like electronic. It's not near anything to do with volume or anything. I have no idea what's going on. Um, okay, and then TMUSA says, is that 9% pre-tax? You may have a choice on that. 9% pre-tax would be less of a hit to your paycheck. It is pre-tax, yeah. So it's 9% gross. Um, so they require you to contribute 9% of your gross from each paycheck, and then they contribute. It's either 4 or 5% matching to it. You can only be in certain plans. I joined TIAA as my servicer. I have Vanguard, I have Fidelity, but those weren't options. So I got into TIAA, and then I chose just a target date fund, whatever one they have in there, to put that into. Now, there was another option. There is also an option to get the state pension plan. This is, I think it's called a 403B. It's basically treated the same as a 401k. Um, I could have gotten the state pension plan, but basically, if you don't stay for at least 8 years, or maybe it's 10 years, working for the state, then you lose all of the matching funds. So I've never had a job with a pension, and that would be incredible if I could end up with a pension uh, in retirement, because like no millennial's gonna have a pension. But like the chances that I'm not going to be here 8 or 10 years and then I would lose all the matching, I think that much outweighs. Like, I think that's much more likely than me not being. Hey, you guys know what I mean. I'm not making any sense, but I just mean I don't think that it's likely that I'd stay working for the state for 8 to 10 years, because that would also limit me to just living in South Carolina too. Um, Okay, SP says yes. I had my TV turned up almost all the way. Oh, and well, okay. I didn't see that before you erased it, so I'm not sure what that said. Oh, okay. Now I'm getting ads for e-bikes, since I've been talking about that. TIAA CREF is good to be a part of. I worked for a university and they had that. I don't know what the CREF part is. I I don't know enough about it really. To I mean, I did their sign up process. I downloaded their app and I have access to my account, but my account balance is just zero because I haven't contributed anything yet. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want to hear a little rant about retirement, the reason I haven't made a video yet about what happened with my last employer is because I'm still trying to court a lawyer to take my case for wrongful termination. So I should know fairly soon whether that's going to happen or not, because I only have a certain deadline to file that case, and if I don't find somebody before the deadline, um, then I'll know that I can just go ahead and make the video. But but basically, what it is, I'm trying to find somebody. Um, I'm trying to find somebody that would take my case on a contingency basis, and they have to be in New Hampshire because that's where it happened. So, looking into that, don't have any answers yet, but I should within a couple of weeks. But anyway, that's why I haven't made the video about what happened there. But they found another way to screw me over, and I think I can talk about this because it's not anything the lawyer's going to work on. So, I didn't immediately start contributing to my 401k when I was working my last job. I have a traditional IRA and I was putting money away manually from every paycheck into that, but I also wanted to contribute to the employer plan. And they didn't have a match, but I eventually signed up for it. And they started
taking everything out, and it was invested in a fund, and I could see the balance increasing and everything. Well, because I got fired, um, they like cashed it out, but then I don't. They forced me to cash it out. They did it on their own, and then they sent it to, I don't know what the letter is. I think it's called American Century Investments, which is some random company I've never heard of. It was like a huge hassle to get access to my account. And then, so once I got there, there's like basically no money in the account. There's like $30. And I'm like, what the hell? So anyway, like talking to the first company and then talking to the second company, I found out what happened. I lost everything that I saved. So basically, the first company, whatever shitty company the employer was using, they charge $100 fee to cash out your retirement. Now remember, I didn't want to cash this out, and I had no choice in the matter. So they went ahead and did that and charged me $100 for it. So then, because remember, I didn't contribute until, I don't know, I didn't start when I started being employed there, and I was only there for less than a year. So I hadn't contributed all that much. But then they took a $100 fee, and then the new place took a $30 fee for taking it. So I only had $160 in there, and 130 of it was taken for fees that I never agreed to because I didn't want them to do this in the first place. Then, and this is the worst part of it. So I have the $30 sitting in there. What's left in this new account, and I can't cash it out because all I want to do is take it out and transfer it into my Vanguard account. And I can't do that because they have a minimum of $50. It's a minimum $50 balance to do that. Well, I only have $30 because they took that money out. So now I have to just like abandon that money. And they also have a $50 per month, what's it called? Like service fee or something, which is just a ridiculous amount. But so anyway, I just, I, yeah, I mean, I'm just writing that off completely because after the first month, that's going to be eaten up by their fees. And then I guess I'm just going to abandon the account because I don't know what else to do with it, and there's not going to be any money left in it. But it's just another way that my former employer totally screwed me over. But yeah, if you guys don't have any connections to any employment lawyers in New Hampshire, let me know. Especially anybody who would take my case on a contingency basis. So, yeah, TMUSA says I just looked up TIAA and they dropped the CREF part. Okay. I also get TIAA and USAA confused. It's actually right here. TMUSA says, "What kind of mattress did you end up picking out?" So look, this is what I'm saying when I'm still moving in. I've got the car mostly unpacked. I've got stuff spread out everywhere. I'm working on like 10 different projects at the same time. In fact, I got very little sleep last night. I was up until 6 in the morning making an annotated bibliography of West Virginia case law because I have to file something soon in court. Because you guys, I know I don't talk about it much anymore. I'm still fighting my ex in court. So there's just something that has to be filed soon. And so I'm working on that. One of the many projects I'm working on. But anyway, because of that, I have not started sleeping in the bedroom. I've been sleeping on the couch in the living room. So they did buy me a new mattress, and I'm very happy with that. I am. Oh, to answer your question, it's a nectar. Let me see if it actually says on the side because the box is sitting right here. Okay, so it doesn't actually say the model number or anything on the side of the box. I went through and I looked at different mattresses and tried to figure out what I wanted. And basically, I gave him 4 options, and I said this was the second most expensive. And I said, you know, this is. I told him this is the one that I preferred overall, but I gave him the other options too, and they didn't try to cheap out. I think there was no way in hell they were going to buy the $5,000 purple mattress, which was the most expensive one that I put on there. But this one was pretty expensive. I mean, this is like $2,000 or $3,000. Um, and anyway, so here's the deal with the bed. When I moved in here, um, the guy that was leaving told me, he's like, "Oh, I left you like a set of sheets." I was like, "Okay, probably not going to use somebody else's sheets. That's kind of weird." But I thought he meant they were just going to be like folded, laying on the bed, but he had actually like made the bed, and he left like pillows and a comforter and stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to use somebody else's stuff. So I haven't done anything with the bed. I did end up throwing those pillows away. I have not stripped the bed yet, and I, as I was like in the process of doing that, though, I realized that you know it is a bed, and it's a queen. It's a queen size bed. It is a bed, but it's like not really a bed. It's a, the free mattress that you get at the mattress store, or like not the free mattress, like the free bed frame that you get that's just like metal bars. That's all it is. It's not a real bed. So what I'm gonna, it also has a box spring, which is like, this isn't the 1800s. Come on. So what I'm gonna do, once I get my first university check, I'm just gonna buy an IKEA bed, and I'm just gonna have it shipped here. I'm just gonna put it together myself. I'll probably get the Malm, which is like $199, I think. There was one that was cheaper than that I really liked on IKEA's website, but the reviews of it are really bad, and I can't decide if I want to take the risk. I mean, not all the reviews are bad. It's just there's a concerning number of reviews that are bad, and I'm like, do I want to take the chance that it's going to break in a couple of months, even though it looks cool, or do I want to just buy the Malm because I know it's fine? I don't know, but I haven't decided on that. But I'm just gonna buy a full on bed. We got an attic in this house, and it's not like a crawl space. It's like a full attic you can walk up in and stand up in, and it has a floor. There's tons of space up there, so I'm just gonna put the frame and the box spring up there. Um, you know, they can deal with it at some point in the future. But I'm just gonna put a bed here, and then if I get fired or moved out or something, I'll just put it back together the way it was. But anyway, it's a nectar. You're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce that. Bahat Israel says they have a nectar. So I can't remember which model I bought. It was not because there's like all these different model options. There's like the absolute top of the line nectar. It wasn't that one. It was one step below it, and I don't remember what that was. But that is what I got, and uh, what I'm probably gonna do, because I'm gonna have to put this on the box spring until I get the bed uh, put together. So I'm probably eventually going to strip down the mattress, that is in there, throw the sheets and stuff away. And then I'll take, I mean, for now, I'll just put the nectar on there. I've got to buy some sheets for it. So again, I've got to wait until I get that check to get money. But buy some sheets for it and just sleep on it like that for now. And then once I get my first paycheck in August, then I'll just get an IKEA bed. And then at that point, I can put the frame and the box spring in storage. So I do actually have a good amount of space in here. It's a pretty small apartment, but there's a lot of storage, like a lot. And I think that that'll work out really well for me. The only thing is, they did tell me that they don't want me to film the house. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I can give you guys an apartment tour, like of my apartment, just not of the whole house. So I'm thinking hopefully maybe fall semester sometime, when after I get moved in, after I'm actually sleeping in the bed and not on the couch and things like that, that I can give you guys a tour of the office and the office being right here, but like the office and the whole suite here. So hopefully give you guys an idea of what that looks like. I know somebody asked in January for an apartment tour video. Totally planned to do that, and then I got fired. So did not get to do that. But yeah. So my plan for this week, I hopefully tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, the next day, I'm going to go to the DMV. I think I have enough things that have been mailed to the house now where I can prove that I live here at this address. I'll go ahead and get my license. That way I can actually drive the car, since I'm paying for it anyway. But also, I mean, it does give me the option to maybe do something to make some money. I can put up ads for furniture assembly after that. I just haven't been able to do that right now because, well, I wouldn't be able to get there if I did get a job. So that's something that I'm gonna do hopefully tomorrow. For the rest of the week, I have a few projects that are asking me to work on here at the house. I gotta buy a new dryer. Oh, and I found out there's like some kind of weird leak from one of the freezers in the kitchen. I gotta get that sorted out. So, I'm taking care of stuff like that. But basically, the main part of my training starts July 16th, and that's when I'm officially a university employee and will be. I don't know what we're learning, actually. I really don't. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, well, okay, there's one other interesting thing. This kind of knocked me back like a couple of weeks in everything that I was doing. Oh, I didn't even see your comment. TD6433. Yeah, I love apartment tours. Can't wait for that one. Yeah, so I'll definitely try to make that this year thing. One, I'll obviously want to get moved in because right now my mattress is in a box in front of the couch in the living room. Things like that will need taken care of, and I'll need time to get stuff put away and probably do a good cleaning for the video. But for the most part, yeah, it'll be good. So I will do that, and then I did want to tell you guys one other thing. This is more recent. I just found out last week. So I guess I won't go like too far down this rabbit hole, but you guys know that I'm into history. like my dad's a history professor. Both of my grandmothers were historians. I found something out this past week. It was last weekend, I think. Yeah. Well, okay. It was hard to deal with. So I had a very distant cousin who I've talked to before. Is one of my DNA matches on Ancestry. She reached out to me, and she's been trying to get a hold of me for like years, but she'll pop up and then disappear and then pops up again. Anyway, so she pops up and sends me a message on Facebook. Um, sends me a message on Facebook, and she's like messaging me. She's like, "Hey, I want you to call me. Like, I figured out something," and she says something about your mom's like she was like the paternity of your grandfather or something. And I was like, what? Anyway, it or paternity of your mom's biological father. I was like, I messaged her back. I was like, I didn't know that was in question. And um, anyway, so get on the phone with her. We ended up talking for like an hour, and we compared notes. And she basically explained to me that because I'm distantly related to her, that she had done some research years ago on our family. In the meantime, she's actually become a professional genealogist, and she does forensic genealogy now for I don't know, some police department somewhere. Um, it's where they like do DNA on like a body they find, and then they work back from the DNA matches to like living family. So it's nothing like that, but that's what she does as a job now. And so she was like, "Yeah, I ran across this recently, and I know I tried to talk to you in the past about it. Honestly, the reason I didn't talk to her in the past is I thought she was crazy, um, because she had like looked up my phone number supposedly with like I don't know skip tracing or something, and then sent me these messages about like, oh, it just like rings and rings forever, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's like my dad's home phone number, and I, I don't know that it was just weird. Um, Anyway, so I didn't respond to her years ago because I thought she was nuts. So anyway, I get this I get this message from her. I finally talked to her, and she explains what the issue is. And I don't know why she initially said that it was like the paternity because she made it sound like it was like my mom's dad wasn't her dad, and that wasn't the case at all. Um, it turns out his dad is not his dad, and without going into like all the details, like why that's like so life shattering is that's the side of the family I have been closest to. Like my great grandma, when I was born, she was the only great grandparent I had, and she is biologically my great grandma, but it's her ex husband, who was you always thought was my grandpa's dad. Didn't have any reason not to think that. Actually isn't. And the way this genealogist described it was not good. I honestly, even though I've done genealogy for so long, she was not explaining it in a way that even I could understand it. So I gave her access to my DNA matches. She like did some matching and took some notes on my family tree, um, and then I was just like, how the hell would that even happen if that's true? But I wasn't like convinced that it was true because I couldn't understand how she was saying that it happened. Like how my great grandfather is not my great grandfather, because I didn't really get what was making her think that that was the case, and so anyway, I actually went over to 23andMe, and I've done DNA testing over there too. And one of the cousins that she had highlighted as related on this other side, this mystery side of the family, um, that it was like an unusual last name, and I had this random cousin over on 23andMe, which is one of my highest cousin matches, but I could not figure out how he was connected. Um, and anyway, so I ended up finding out his parents' names, and then from one of their obituaries, I found their parents' names. And the grandmother, her maiden name was one of the names that this researcher had said was in the DNA matches that was popping up for me that was from this like mystery ancestor. So anyway, then I go back over to Ancestry, and then I see, okay, yeah, like that's how this connects. So she sent me a list of people that she suspected to actually be the father. Well, it turns out that this grandmother of the DNA match I had, his or her mother was one of the children of the suspected father. And so anyway, what it turns out, she thought that I think initially she thought that my mom's dad was not her dad. That's not true. He is. Turns out my great grandfather is not my grandpa's dad biologically. Um, so then basically what happened was she figured out who the DNA said, or the family that the DNA said would be the father. And then I was able to connect my existing DNA matches back to it. And then that proved it to me. Like I proved it to myself that, okay, this must be true because I, I do have these DNA matches to these people, to this family that she says that it would be. I haven't talked to her yet again. I'm needing to do that this week. But I think she's wrong because she told me one, it was this one brother. And then she told me, no, I think it's actually this other brother. It's not the brother, it's the father. Um, it's their father who is the father because 23andMe shows you the number of generations and it's one generation higher. So it's not either of the two brothers, it's the father. Um, and anyway, so I am kind of having a crisis of personality of like, who I am kind of thing. Um, and there's not a lot of information about this new family either. They're kind of there's like barely any pictures online. They have like no information on Find a Grave. Um, they're they're very mysterious, but at the same time, I'm trying to figure out who knew what. Like, did my great grandmother know? Did my great grandfather know that my grandfather wasn't his? Um, like, how did this even come about? Because, well, one, my great grandmother was married. Two, the dude was also married. He had just gotten married like a month before my grandfather would have had to have been conceived. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to figure out, and um, I'm pulling some. And one of the things is like I'm waiting. I have to get a record. There's a deed of a sale of property. If it happened after a certain time, it might not mean anything. If I get the date that it was sold and it happened before a certain time, then that's a big question because at that point, my great grandmother was in Virginia, and I know the DNA doesn't lie, but I don't know how it's possible because she wasn't there. So anyway, um, I don't think my grandpa knew anything. Um, anyway, it's I don't know what happened here. Um, but as the researcher was pointing out, she's like, well, it's not even just that you don't have DNA matches on your mom's side, because I have DNA matches that match up with my great grandma's family, but not my great grandpa's. And I didn't think anything weird about that because, like, my grandpa, he's an only son, right? So he's the only one with that last name. Well, the generation before him, great grandpa's generation, he was the only son to carry on the name. So I just thought that if there were any DNA matches with that name, that they would be like pretty far back, or I might not get any at all. It didn't seem weird to me that I didn't get any DNA matches on that line. But the researcher pointed out, looked at pictures of my grandpa, looked at pictures of my great grandpa. They do not look anything alike. But that's also not anything that I ever questioned. Like I don't look anything like either of my parents. Um, okay, my mom would say I look like my dad, but anyway. So yeah, I kind of had like a meltdown and a crisis this week, and then that led me to like pulling my great grandparents' divorce papers and reading through those, and then that was probably not a good choice because there was a lot of drama there. And anyway, I'm still figuring this out. Still coming to terms with him not being my great grandfather, not knowing who knew what, how exactly this even happened, like what the circumstance was. I mean, they didn't live in the same area, so I don't even know how this like physically happened. And then like learning about this new family that I'm actually related to, um, and then I don't know. And then there's the question: is my grandpa's sister even the child of my great grandfather? I don't know. Um, and so like now I'm kind of having to start a project of reaching out to what relatives remain alive to try to see if they'll DNA test to see if we can figure it out. Um, it's a mess. So sorry, I saw there was somebody commenting. Let me see. Out here, my husband had a similar situation. His paternal grandmother married, had a son, and was widowed. She had three more children, never remarried, but kept her former married name and gave that last name to all of her children. So we have no idea what my father in law's, and thus my husband's, actual biological surname is. Yeah. We're working on tracking it down with the help of family, but folks can be tight lipped. We're not sure if the man that my father in law thought was his father was actually his father. Yeah, I mean, DNA testing is going to be the best because, like, you're right, people won't tell you stuff even if they know. So that's going to be the best to connect. And with it being that close, it shouldn't be that difficult. Like, mine's a little bit further back, so DNA testing is a little more difficult. And DNA testing any close relatives now is a little more difficult because this happened 101 years ago, so most everyone's dead. But yeah, I just was like not prepared for a random phone call being like, "Hey, your family you know your entire life, you're not actually related to." So like I said, I kind of had a crisis. Um, but I genuinely am trying to put a timeline together of what both of my great grandparents were doing along that time, because my great grandpa came home from World War One in 1919, and he got married in 1919. As far as we know, when he got married to my great grandma, she was already 2 months pregnant with my grandpa's older sister. That was never told in the family. It's just something that you can match up when you see the dates of when she was born versus when um, when they got married. So I always thought she got pregnant and therefore he married her. Um, and then they just made the relationship work. And then 5 years later, they had my grandpa. Um, they did end up getting divorced another 10 years after that. But basically, there's a lot of question of the timeline. Um, if he married her when my grandpa's sister was, you know, conceived or she started showing with her or whatever, um, was she even his? Well, we're gonna have to try to find some of her descendants and see if they'll test. I do have what should be a granddaughter of his that is 85, and still living as far as I can tell, that I'm going to have to reach out to and see if she'll test. But then, you know, well, there's the question of who's this random other dude? Can you? Well, actually, can you explain that? So TD6433, have can you explain that a little more? Because I'm not sure what a lavender marriage is. Um, but yeah, so it seems like so my grandpa is definitely not related to, well, you know, I don't know what to call him, but my great grandpa that I've known. Question is my grandpa's older sister his daughter? Um, I don't know. And then what I'm basically trying to do is I'm trying to establish this timeline of what they were all doing because in 1925 my grandpa was born in Virginia, and there was always kind of a question in the family why he was born in Virginia. Um, all we knew is that it's a tiny town in the middle of nowhere, and it was a logging camp, and my great grandpa did various jobs, but he did work with like logging or something at some point. So we're just like, oh, he must have been there for work. Um, and we even have a picture of my great grandma, my great grandfather, and my grandpa's older sister. And on the back of it, it says at the logging camp. So, like, we know that that's the kind of place that they would go. Um, so, the problem is we don't know why they went to Virginia. We know that I found out later that my great grandma had a brother who was living in that town, and he'd been working there since at least 1920. Um, so it wouldn't be that unusual for them to go live with her brother 5 years later. There's still kind of the question of why, but at least it's not just a random place in the middle of nowhere. But the question comes down to timing because how she had to have gotten pregnant before she left to go to Virginia. I don't know. And like I said, there's the question of who knew what. Did Grandpa know? Did my great grandfather know? Did great grandma even know? Because that like brings up a lot of questions of what really happened. Like if she didn't know, like if my great grandma didn't know and legitimately thought that both kids were my great grandfathers, then that's there was, I guess, like no malintent or whatever. Oh, okay. TD6433 says, well, it's possible that the person you thought was your great grandpa was gay. He married your great grandma because she needed a husband. So neither your great grandpa or his sister was his kids. So I have floated this as one of the theories. Because here's the deal. My great grandfather died in 1958. And I know a lot about him because my mom grew up around him. I've heard a lot of stories. I actually have a lot of his personal belongings. But of course, I never met him, right? And look, I don't claim to have gaydar because I'm straight, so I don't generally pick up on that. I mean, sometimes right? Like, but I'm not great at picking up on if people are gay. And I know in his time, like, it was not seen as bad. I mean, it was not seen as a good thing. So, like, I kind of don't want to accuse him of possibly being gay. Um, but I've seen some pictures of him, and it's possible. Um, you know how some people just kind of have that look. I don't want to say for sure, but like it is possible. It's, I mean, even people that don't look gay can be gay. this isn't a bad example, but I'm basically just saying, if you look at the pictures of them, you could be like, yeah, I could maybe see that. So I can't rule it out, and that is true. So it turns out my grandfather is biologically the son of a guy who was married. Um, and he got married like a month before my grandpa would have had to have been conceived. So he was married at that time, and of course my great grandma was married at that time. Um, and then yeah, that's the question of whether the daughter is even um, his. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to figure out. I don't know, but I mean, when you get news like that, uh, especially when it's the family that you know the most about and you're the closest to, because I remember my great grandma, and she was the only great grandparent um, that I had living when I was born. And then, like for example, I go out to the cemeteries every year. Well, not the last few years because my life's been a disaster, but I'm the only one in the family that can still do that. And the cemetery where he's buried, that's the main cemetery I go to. Like the most frequently in most years is I go out to his grave. And so, between knowing her and growing up doing that for him and still doing that for him as an adult, um, like this is the set of great grandparents that I'm closest to. And to find out that, he's not, um, you know, I don't know. I don't know about the gay thing. It is a possibility. Um, so I'm just gonna have to do a lot more research. Um, I'm gonna have to do a lot of, well, hopefully some DNA testing if people are willing, and see what we can figure out from there. Um, but but yeah. Um, so that's kind of it. It's just got me like freaked out, I guess. Um, but anyway, um, now I will say this. Okay, so on your theory of the lavender marriage, he was 28 or 30, depending on which record you believe is accurate, when he got married. Which I mean, on its own doesn't really mean anything, but that is pretty old to be a bachelor. I mean, in 1919. Um, so, maybe there is something. And then Allie here says, that is tough. I hope you find out more. Keep us updated as you feel comfortable doing so. Yeah, I will when I find out. And with everything else I got going on my plate, it's like this kind of, it can't be something that's like that I work on that thoroughly right now. It's gonna take me a while, um, but yeah. Um, so I got to figure that out, and I'm probably gonna go. Well, if I do get this check and I do get the car to go home, I was going to go out to the cemeteries when I'm home. Um, so, you know, I'll do that. Like I'm still gonna visit, basically, is what I'm saying. I've always done that. Even if, I mean, even if biologically we're not related, but anyway, um, it's really just kind of unsettling to find out a part of you is not only not what you thought it was, but it's some, you're part of people that are like strangers to you. Um, so part of this too is, I guess, me getting to know that family a little bit, and maybe not like directly with the ones living now, but research them, see what they were doing, like what their deal was, and and yeah. But so that's pretty much it. That took like my whole last week. I was I was working on all these different projects I'm working on, and then I got that phone call. That took me out for at least like 2 or 3 days, where I'm just like I was upset. I like emotionally, I just was like kind of sitting around not doing anything. And then I started researching stuff. That took a lot of time. Um, so I'm waiting on one deed. I know that they had a farm that they sold, and I don't have a date on that, but I'm waiting to get that document. If I get that document, that's going to tell me something because it's going to be either before or after my grandfather's conception date. And that's going to tell me when they moved to Virginia. So it's kind of going to create a mystery of like, okay, did they sell it after conception, which would make sense, or did they sell it before conception, which then doesn't make any sense because then I have to figure out how this guy's DNA got to a different state. Um, but anyway, and I can't ask anybody because no one alive knows anything. So unless that 185-year-old might know something, but I've never met her, and I don't know. Hopefully, when I'm home, I'm going to talk to my cousin Susie. You guys have told I've talked about Susie on here uh, before. She's like 75, and she will tell me. Like I was sheltered from a lot of family rumors and stuff when I was little, but she will tell me if I ask her about it and she knows anything. Um, so, yeah, so there's that. Um, well, anyway, you can tell that's just like stuck in my mind because I keep coming back to it. But I'm gonna try to get it unfocused off that. Um, Basically, what my plan is for up until we do the next live stream. That'll be like again near the end of July, and I'll probably be in the same location here. It'll be the last time that I'm in this location. Um, I am hopefully going to have my driver's license by then. Going to be a big problem if I don't. And closer to getting stuff moved in here, I will hopefully have created and posted the video about my student loan updates. Um, that's a lot because it's covering 6 years, but I have taken pretty thorough notes of like a timeline where I could just talk about that, and we'll go over balances and stuff too. Um, and hopefully, in that time frame, I get this check, and if that's the case, then I'm also going to be able to go home once before school starts, get my haircut, all that stuff. Um, so that's just kind of where things are. And in the meantime, I'm just trying to live really cheaply right now until I get that check in. Um, so we'll have probably one video up, probably about the student loans. I'll try to finish this other video I'm working on, but probably won't post it next month. And then I will. I'll be in training, and we'll have done my training by the time the next live stream is done. So yeah, that's just kind of where things are. And I got a lot of work on for next time. But that is all the comments. Just to go over the top fans, we got TM USA in first place at 150 XP, and then we got in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth place, all tied somehow. We've got Poe, Lord Bless This Mess, Bahat Yisrael, Fresh Lights, TD6433, and then in seventh place we have Sandra tied with Max in 8th place at 50 XP. Oh, there's 2 Maxes in the chat. That's confusing. Okay, and then other Max at 9 with 25 XP. 10th place Schrawl at 25. 11 is Abacus Inc. All right, that is all the comments, I think. Thank you guys for being here. I know I'm still not posting very often, but I'm still just really trying to get my life together, and it is a struggle. And I keep getting hit with random stuff like this. So it's like something from 101 years ago reaches out and knocks me off course. So it's always something. But all right, guys, I'm gonna end this here now. If you're watching this back later, feel free to comment on the re-upload. I read all the comments. So I'm just gonna keep fighting, keep trying to get my stuff together, and yeah, I'll update you guys next month about what I got done, and hopefully I've made a lot of progress by then. So, all right, look out for a student loan video. I'd say probably July 15th or before, so I can get it done before my training. So yeah, I would look out for that then. And I guess I'll see you guys then.